Hello and welcome to our virtual yoga class. My name is Vanessa and I'm here to support you for the next hour of class. We'll remain in a seated position for the beginning portion of our class, so make any adjustments here. Now you can come to sit in a cross-legged position, or as I'm demonstrating, you can sit on your ankles, knees bent. We'll take an intentional breath here. Inhale and exhale. Shoulders are relaxed. Inhale. Optional exhale, side out. Notice the quality of your breath. No judgment. Just noticing your breath, noticing that your practice begins now, so early in the class. Shifting your attention to the breath, building that connection of the physical, mental, emotional body. You can notice that physical, mental, emotional release just by exhaling, sighing out. You'll start to drop your chin towards your chest. Allow that natural pull of gravity, pull your head. Notice the back of the neck, upper back here. And then come back to center. Take your chin to face the right side, towards your right shoulder, and hold. You're not holding your breath. You're shifting your chin towards your shoulder, noticing a stretch in the sides of the neck. Hold and release, come back to center. Take your chin to shift towards the left. Your chin is shifting towards your left shoulder. Your attention are in the sides of the neck. You're holding the pose, not your breath. Release, come back to center. Now lift your chin up towards the ceiling, opening up the throat, dropping your head back. Come back to center. Make adjustments with your seat. If you're sitting in a cross-legged position as I am, release, go into your standard cross-legged position. Noticing those subtleties in the body. You're noticing how subtly your core is active, supporting the length of your spine. Shoulders are drawn down. So we've just opened up around the sides of the neck. Go ahead and release into some neck rolls here, placing extra attention to the upper back and shoulders. Notice how it's effective just by working on the neck. Notice any spots that feel a little sore and remain there, perhaps for another extra few seconds there. Deep belly breath. And then head goes back to that neutral position. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears, draw them down, purposely bringing your shoulder blades together. So we're working and focusing here on the neck and shoulders, upper back. Palms rest softly on your knees. And then after a few rounds here, lift your shoulders up and forward. It's a very different sensation here. We don't normally shift our shoulders forward in this motion. I'm lifting shoulders up, tucking my elbows close to my torso. Palms are still soft and relaxed on my knees. And after one more round or two, you can release those shoulder shrugs. Take your hands right behind your head. Watch your elbows, press them towards the back, and then twist towards the left and towards the right. You can hold one side longer. You're leading through your chest, your heart. You're not forgetting to breathe. You're grounding your sit bones onto the floor. And then after a few more rounds here, towards the left and towards the right, release your hands. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, palms up towards the ceiling. Round your spine, take your chin towards your chest, palms towards the front. Release your hands soft on your knees, one shoulder shrug, draw them down. Okay, so we've opened up and loosened up around the neck, shoulders, upper back. Let's go ahead and focus on our lower body, especially glutes and hamstrings, areas that tend to feel very tight. So first we're going to press that left foot right against your left thigh so we can focus on one leg here, but you're still opening here in the right hip and right glute just by pressing that left foot against your thigh. You have a little bend to your knee. Your spine is long here. You're leading with your chest, your heart, and you're folding here. We're gonna stay here quite a few breaths, 5 to 8 breaths here, inhaling, exhaling. You can always flex your left foot for a deeper stretch, or you can relax that left foot. Hands reach the thigh, shins or toes. Notice deep belly breaths. Notice that type of breath that begins at the belly. And I say that because we have this tendency to constrict our breath. As we fold, we tend to constrict around the belly. Inhale. Exhale. Pull a little deeper. Notice where your boundary is. Breathe into your boundary. And then release. Right foot onto the mat. We're going to extend that stretch into the lower back, mid back, upper back. Elbow hooks on your knee. You're twisting towards the right. opening throughout the spine. You can flex your left foot. So you're flexing your left foot, purposely lengthening the spine and taking your chin towards that right shoulder. So you're active here. Notice where your body might be passive and activate those muscle groups. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Press your left foot right against your thigh. Lengthen your spine. Have a little bend to your knee. Fold over. Now, breathe into your boundary, your choice to flex that right foot or not. You'll notice you'll activate a different stretch by doing so. Shoulders are drawn down. Breathe into your belly, breathe into your hamstrings. Inhale. Exhale. Deep belly breath. And then release. Take that left foot onto the mat. Take your right arm out. So purposely flex your right foot here. Lengthen your spine. Hook your elbow on your knee. Extend this stretch to lower back, mid back, upper back, neck. I'm purposely lengthening my spine here. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Press both soles of the feet against each other. Lengthen your spine. Fold. You can rest your elbows right onto your calves or on the creases right behind your knees. 5 breaths. Deep belly breath here. And release. Transition into your tabletop. Hands beneath your shoulders. You want to make sure those hands are beneath your shoulders for stability, for alignment. And knees are hips width distance apart. For the same reason, for stability and alignment. So as you're here, we're going to focus on opening up our hips. Bend that right knee, bend your knee, and then stack your hips here. As you're stacking those hips, you're noticing your lower back, glutes, hip, hold. Now round your spine, chin and knee towards your chest. You're pressing through your palms here. You're hovering with that knee. And then lift that right leg, bend your knee, stack your hips, hold. Second round out of 3, knee and chin towards spine. You're rounding your spine, knee hovers. You press through your palms, activate your core as you lengthen that right leg, bend your knee, stack your hips, hold. Round your spine, chin and knee towards chest. Press through your palms, and then release your knee onto the floor. Inhale up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. Move at your own pace here. Inhaling up, lifting your tailbone. Exhale, round your spine. Your fingertips are spread wide. One more round, inhaling into a cow pose and exhaling into a cat pose. You want to protect the length of your spine up to the neck, down to the tailbone. And now start to lift your left leg, bend your left knee, stack your hips. You're noticing your lower back, your glute, your hip, your quad. Activating and stretching here. Round your spine, chin and knee towards your chest, hover. I'm purposely pressing through my palms and lengthen my arms here. Activate your core, lift your left leg, bend your knees, stack your hips, hold. Round your spine, move into your second round. And then last round, lift your leg, bend your knees, stack your hips, hold. Round your spine, knee and chin towards chest. Release your knee onto the floor. Make any adjustments here with your hands, knees. Inhale up into your cow. Exhale, round your spine. Remaining an extra breath in any of these poses, it's okay to exhale into a cow pose or include an inhale in your cat pose. That's when you're being still with the pose, breathing several breaths into a pose. One more round into a cow and cat pose. And once you've arrived to your cat and your neutral tabletop, press that right palm onto the floor. Lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. You can take your gaze up and now prepare for your needle pose. Release that left shoulder onto the mat. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling, either keeping it lifted or release your hand on your lower back. And release. Right hand onto the mat. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Opposite side. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. Extending throughout the arm, inviting a side body stretch around the shoulder, and now release your shoulder onto the floor, onto the mat, and then lift your left arm up towards the ceiling, either keeping it lifted or releasing it to rest on your lower back. Release your hand. One more cow and cat pose. And then lift up into your downward facing dog. You're in that upside down V. Distributing weight on your palms, fingertips, bringing your chest closer towards your thighs and have a little bend to your knees. You're lifting your hips, your heels up towards the ceiling. Breathe into the back of your legs, so the expansion of that breath in your belly. And then take your gaze right between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold, hands to shins. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, soften the neck. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, grounding through your heels, grounding through your feet. Noticing left hand press against right hand press against left hand. We inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. Continuously uniting the physical, mental, emotional body. Release your hands, arms lift, spine extended. We bend our knees, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Take your vinyasa, meaning plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. And then down dog. Deep belly breath. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold, ground through your feet. We're going to sweep our arms up overhead. Hands meet in front of our heart center. Generous breath, inhale, exhale. Move into your second sun salutation, lifting arms up. Exhale, bending your knees, folding down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Extend through the spine and that upward facing dog. And then down dog. Taking a breath, breathing into your hamstrings, into the expansion of the belly. And now third sun salutation. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, softening the neck. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Being aware of the left hand pressing against right hand pressing against left hand. Once you've taken a breath here, release your hands. On an inhale, extend through the spine as you lengthen your arms up. There's a natural exhale as you release and fold down to your forward fold. Shoulders slide back as you inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Inhale, step back into your plank pose. Exhale, release down towards the floor. Extend through the spine in your upward facing dog. And then we meet at our downward facing dog. In that downward facing dog, lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Release your foot back down towards the floor, and then opposite side, lift your left leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Release your foot back down towards the floor. Take your gaze between your hands, walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, softening your neck, ground through your feet, your hands, sweep your arms up overhead. Hands in front of your heart center. Let's take a moment here to ground with our breath. Noticing by inviting our breath, we're inviting our experience. Our breath is our focusing tool, supporting us to build that bridge, physical, mental, emotional. It's very difficult to cultivate that self-awareness of the physical, mental, emotional bodies. This is what we're cultivating. And it's just as simple as noticing. As we get or regain more skill, it's about noticing more frequently. So as you're here in this mountain pose, you can decide to keep your hands in front of your chest, or you can take your hands to frame your hips. So as you're here, invite this present moment awareness. Invite that still continuously arriving back to the breath. And then remind yourself of what your full breath is like. Release your to-do list. This is the breath you can go back to throughout your day and throughout the week. Anytime you need to reset, inhale, exhale, side out. Both very simple and difficult. It's that paradox. We'll start to release our mountain pose, pedal our feet back and forth, and we'll shift first into a warrior one, and then be prepared that from your warrior one, we're going to immediately shift into a warrior three, a balance pose. So that left foot that comes forward in your warrior one will be that left foot that you balance on as you're lifting that right leg. So right leg steps back. This is the leg. This is the foot that's going to float up. Now this is warrior one. So our hips are squared towards the front and there's a 90-degree bend to your knees. And these hips squared towards the front is important because this is what's going to help you when you're ready to transition into your warrior three. You want your hips squared towards the front. They're even. All right, let's take a moment here in our warrior one. We're sinking into our hips, our glutes. Our legs are these scissors that are attempting to close, but they can't. Your quads and glutes are engaged. Your hands can be in front of your heart center. You can lift your arms up. Either invite an arch to your spine or tuck in your core for a straighter spine. Inhale. Exhale, pose of stability and strength. Notice how your breath supports you as you explore your strength, flexibility, and balance. We'll take our hands in front of our heart center, prepare for warrior three. You're placing weight on that left foot, dipping your chest forward as you lift your right leg. You can float that right foot just a few inches off the floor. This can be your warrior three. Or you can lift that right leg as much as you can. So it's parallel to the floor. That means you're gonna have to be very open here around the hips and the glutes to dip that chest down. So it's parallel to the floor while simultaneously right leg is lifted. Don't forget to breathe in your warrior three. Feel free to step in or out of the pose and make adjustments. Hands can be in front of your heart center, or you can take your arms or your hands out like an airplane, or you can take your arms out in front of you. Take your gaze to one point across the floor or room, and then release your hands. Hands are directly beneath your shoulders. Lift your right leg as high as you can here. And then right foot meets that left foot. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, softening the neck. We're going to step back into a plank pose. Take your vinyasa. Inviting generous breath here. Take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Sweep your arms up overhead. Take a moment here to ground with your breath. Either shifting into a mountain pose, hands in front of your heart center, or mountain pose, hands framing your hips. Eyes opened or closed. Notice what that experience does for you, eyes opened or closed. Check in with your breath. By welcoming our breath, we welcome our experience. On the next inhale, inhale here, exhale, side out. Start to mentally prepare yourself for warrior one, noticing that we're going to shift immediately into a warrior three from warrior one. So before we had our left foot forward, so now we have our right foot steps forward, left leg steps back, left foot in a diagonal, hips square towards the front. That piece is important, hips square towards the front. That means you're anchoring through your heels. Once you find a nice comfortable position, you bend your knees and then make the adjustments you need to shift your heart, your core towards the front. Hold. You're engaging your glutes, your quads. Hands can be in front of your heart center. You can lift your arms up overhead. Keep your gaze steady, straight ahead. Now take your hands in front of your heart center. Start to place weight on that right foot. Lift your left leg as high as you can. Step in or out of the pose. There's a lot of strength here around the glutes and quads, a lot of opening here around the hips, a lot of core strength here. This is not an easy pose. Remain here in your warrior three. Inhale, exhale. Try to keep your gaze steady on the floor at one point. Another breath here. And then release your hands on the floor, making sure your hands are directly beneath your shoulders. Lift your left leg as high as you can here. Standing splits. You're dropping your belly towards your thigh. You're relaxing your head, your neck. And then left foot meets that right foot. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release your choice. Take your vinyasa, plank pose towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog, or go directly into your downward facing dog. A few breaths in this downward facing dog. Feel free to hear your inhale and your exhale. And now take your gaze right between your hands. So walk or jump up to that forward fold. We're going to inhale halfway up. Shoulders roll back. Exhale, release. This time we're going to roll up slowly. Head comes up last. Notice that paradox. Your legs are active. Your torso is relaxed. Head comes up last. It's a good practice of physically, mentally, emotionally letting go. Learning to move slowly with our body is extremely helpful to help slow down those thought streams. Mountain pose, inhale, exhale. From mountain pose, another strong pose of stability, our chair pose. We bend our knees, shoot our arms up. Engage your glutes and your quads. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, fold down, relax your neck. Inhale, halfway up.
Exhale, release. Roll up slowly. Head comes up last. Grounding through your heels, your toes, arms dangle. Spine lengthens, shoulders are drawn down. Mountain pose. Inhale, exhale. Last round, chair pose. Bend your knees, lengthen your arms out. Inhale. Exhale. You're lifting your tailbone. Extending through the spine, arms shoot out. Bend your knees, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Take your vinyasa or go immediately into a downward facing dog. Inhale here. And then exhale, release your knees onto the floor and then shift into a child's pose. Take a moment of pause here as we transition to the more restful portion of class. Arms can lengthen out in front, hips open, knees are bent, drop the lower back towards the floor. Invite a stabilizing breath. Invite a deep belly breath. And then ground your palms onto the floor as you release your child's pose. We're going to bend both knees, both soles of the feet on the floor. So we're going to prepare for a boat pose, which will lead to us laying down. So you'll practice activating your core here. First, take your hands behind your thighs, and then imagine a cord lift your chest as you lengthen your legs and drop back a little bit. Either keeping your hands here for extra support or taking your hands out, palms up towards the ceiling. You're lengthening your legs, imagining that cord lift to your chest so your spine straight. Any shaking is fine. This is strength not only in the core but around the quads especially. Hold. And then you'll shift into laying down. Tuck your chin towards your chest to protect your neck. Lengthen your legs. You're going to shake here. Sometimes it'll be more graceful than other times. And then drop your head back. Allow your breath to collapse here. Inhale. Exhale. Side out. You're going to bend your right knee. Take your hands to wrap around that knee. Flex your left foot. Inhale. On an exhale, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards chest, and then drop your head back. Total of 5 times. Second time. Inhaling when you drop your head back. Exhaling as you round your spine. I'm going to stretch into the lower back, mid back, upper back. Activate your core. Release tension around the neck. And then after that 5th round, release your head back, lengthen your right leg, and then grip that right behind your thigh with your hands. Rotate your ankle clockwise, counterclockwise. Pay attention to your toes, your heels here. Lengthen your leg as much as you can here. And then practicing slow, mindful movements. Slowly release your heel back down towards the floor. Opposite side, bend your left knee, grab your knee with your hands. Ground your spine, forehead towards your knee, drop your head back. That's round 1 out of 5. You can flex that right foot for extra support and invite the active pose. And then after the 5th round or so, drop your head back, lengthen your left leg up towards the ceiling, grip your thigh with your hands or right behind your thigh. So I'm rotating my ankle, pointing my toes, flexing my feet here. Lengthen your leg as much as you can here, activating that stretch in the hamstrings. Release your hands, practicing slow, mindful movements. Slowly release your leg back down towards the floor. It's very helpful to practice slow movements with our bodies. Bend both knees, grab both knees with your hands, and then rock to the left and to the right. You want to massage the lower back around the tailbone. You can also make circles here. Press or kind of lengthening your arms, pushing those knees out, and then with your fingertips, kind of bringing your knees closer towards you in a circle, clockwise or counterclockwise. So either way works, rocking to the left or to the right, or making these circles here. If you are doing those circles, I recommend going one direction and then switching it out for balance. Notice any difference? And then we'll start to shift into a twist, dropping our knees towards the right. You want to drop your head towards the left. So you want knees and head to face opposite directions. Arms are at a T. You can always take your right hand if you want a deeper stretch around the lower back. You can grip your thigh a little bit. That means you're going to relax a little bit less, but it's helpful if you want to release more down the lower spine, lower back, and hips. So you can always grab that knee, that thigh or knee, kind of bring it closer towards the floor. Take a comfortable breath here. And then bring your knees back to center, opposite side. Drop your knees towards the left. Take your head towards the right. Knees and head facing opposite directions. You can either relax here, you can take your left hand to grab your thigh, bring your thigh a little bit closer towards the floor. Do soften neck and shoulders. Invite a comfortable breath. 2 more breaths here. Inhale, exhale. And back to center, soles of the feet touch, knees are bent. Your backs of the hands can rest on the floor, elbows bent, arms lifted, that's an option. You can take your hands to rest on your belly or chest as well. There's different expressions here. Backs of the hands can frame the hips, palms up towards the ceiling. So allow yourself to take a few deep breaths. These are the breaths that you want to refamiliarize yourself with what that full breath is like. This is the same breath you're going to go back to at any time throughout the day. You want to know what it feels like. Surprisingly, we just aren't aware of our breath, so we kind of forget what that feels like. So notice your belly expand, ribcage expand at any point, exhale, sigh it out. You can allow your breath to go back to its natural rhythm. Soften down the neck, spine to the hips, perhaps imagining those knees soften further towards the floor. This is a restorative pose. Your body is totally supported by the ground. And then start to lengthen your legs. We'll prepare for our final resting pose of the class. This is the pose that we hold the longest in yoga. And despite the diversity of yoga classes that are offered and styles, this last resting pose is pretty universal. It's a pose that teaches us the wisdom of doing nothing. It releases expectations. It supports our self-care, allows us to release what we need to release and to receive what we need to receive. It helps us integrate our practice, all in a space of stillness. You can allow your breath to go back to its natural rhythm, or if you want to practice some intentional deep, long breaths, go ahead to go for it. For now, I'll guide you through a meditation to soften and release further throughout your body. Soften your forehead and jaw, the back of your tongue, around your throat and neck and shoulders. These are all areas that subconsciously store tension. Soften down the length of the spine, releasing the upper back, mid back, lower back, the area around the tailbone. Soften down the arms to your wrists and fingertips. Notice that release in the palms. Notice we tend to hold on to so much with our hands. We use our hands so much. Take an opportunity to notice, what do your hands feel like when they're soft and relaxed, when they're not clenching or holding on to things? Notice that physical, mental, emotional response.
And then soften and release down the length of your legs, your hips, behind your knees, down to your ankles and toes. Observe any thoughts and sensations without judgment, just notice. And then start to shift attention back to your breath, inviting a generous and leisurely breath. Restore some movement to your fingertips and toes. You have the option of inviting a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, pointing your toes. You can also drop your body to one side, allowing it to remain heavy and relaxed. Once again, reacquaint yourself with that leisurely and that generous breath. It's a very particular type of breath where there is no hurry. There is no sense of time for the next thing. And then after another breath or two, start to make your way up to your seat. Take a moment here with your breath. And then we'll conclude class with an intentional inhale and exhale. Let's take our hands in front of our heart center. Let's inhale here and exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you with love.